Can you believe that we're already at week 4 of the NFL season? We're almost a quarter of the way through the regular season. That's just crazy. The season has been flying by, but as always, it is time for my weekly predictions. This is my week 4 predictions. I'm finally able to actually talk about my picks. I went 11-5 on my picks last week, which is actually the best record I've gotten in a week since the start of the season. Brings my overall record on the season to 31-17, which isn't bad. I'm shooting over 60%, but we need one of those weeks where I go like 12-4, 13-3, 14-2. Hopefully this is the week where we do that. I also found a new graphic to use for these videos instead of the ugly one that the NFL posts on their Instagram that doesn't even include all the games. This one shows Thursday and Monday Night Football. And it just looks 10 times better. With all that being said, though, I'm done yapping. Let's get into my picks. Thursday Night Football, this is already way behind us. If you're ever curious as to what my Thursday Night Football predictions are, I usually post them on my YouTube community tab. I'll rarely make a video talking about a Thursday Night Football game depending on how good the game is, but most of the time, my predictions for Thursday Night Football are going to be on my community tab. So let's get started with Sunday's action, starting off with a London game, the Jaguars versus the Falcons. I'm going to be honest, I will not be waking up for this. The Jaguars have not been off to a great start at all, but if any week gives them a chance to bounce back, it's this week right here against the Falcons in their second home of London. The Falcons have been a weird team through the first few weeks of the season. Their defense has actually been very solid, and their running game has obviously been great with the likes of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Allgeier, but their passing game has been pretty bad. I don't think Desmond Ridder is the guy for the Falcons, and I think he's going to be holding them back of their true potential this year. And as for the Jaguars, well, they need this win, and they need it badly. This could be one of the most important weeks of the season for the Jaguars because they need this win to get to 2-2, to get some water under their feet, especially with the tough schedule they have coming up. So I got the Jaguars winning this game. They should win it pretty convincingly, too, to get some momentum back on their side. Dolphins versus Bills, this is by far going to be the best game of the week. And I'll be honest, I've been teetering back and forth between who I think is going to win this game, but I am ultimately going with the Dolphins to beat the Bills here in Buffalo. I am fully on to the Dolphins hype train, bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. I believe that the Dolphins are a truly legit team, and they can be contenders this year. Their offense is one of, if not the best offenses in the NFL, and while their defense does leave some things to be desired at some points, they have the talent to make it work. I think this is the game where the Dolphins prove to everybody that they are legit, and like I said, I got them beating the Bills. Vikings versus Panthers, a battle between two 0-3 teams, and is it crazy to say that this is the highest chance the Panthers have had of winning a game throughout the first 4 weeks of the season? I still don't think we're going to win, but I think we'll be able to make it close enough to where it doesn't look like a bad loss. The Vikings, though, they need this win more than anything. If they start out the season 0-4, they might as well just kiss the rest of the season goodbye. So I'm going with the Vikings in a must-win situation. I'm just hoping my Panthers make it close and we can see some visual improvements from Bryce Young against a weak Vikings defense. And then we've got an absolute slugfest between two powerhouses, two juggernauts, the Broncos versus the Bears. This could end up being the most anticipated game of the season. In all seriousness, though, how are we getting a tank bowl in week 4? I'm taking the Broncos to win here. There is no way you lose by 50 points last week and then come out against the Bears and lose again. If the Broncos lose to the Bears here, they might as well not show up for another week the rest of the season. They need to replicate what the Dolphins did to them last week. They need to do that to the Bears this week. So I'm going with the Broncos. No reason for them to lose this game. Ravens versus Browns. So the Ravens just lost to the Colts in overtime last week, and that is obviously not a great look. And the Browns whooped the Titans' ass last week, so I'm pretty conflicted between who I think is going to win between these two teams. This is a really tough matchup for both teams. This is probably going to be a very ugly, low-scoring type game because that's just AFC North football. I am going to take my chances with the Ravens to win, though. I think they are the better team. I think their defense can do perfectly fine against Deshaun and the Browns' offense, but the Ravens' offense has an extremely tough matchup cut out for them against the Browns' defense, which is one of the best in the NFL, but I think they can overcome it. Definitely going to be interesting to watch, but I am going with the Ravens in a very close, tight game. Steelers versus Texans, honestly, another tough matchup here, mainly because the Texans have looked somewhat good this season, especially last week against the Jaguars. However, I'm going with the Steelers. I think CJ Stroud is finally going to get his welcome to the NFL game against TJ Watt in the Steelers defense. I mean, as long as the offense is just able to pick up the scraps off of the defense's incredible work, the Steelers should win this game without much of a problem. The Steelers could start the season off 3-1, and I hate that. Rams versus Colts. I really don't have much to say for this one. I'm going with the Colts, though. I feel good with the Colts this game. They're getting Anthony Richardson back, who's looked really good throughout the games that he's actually played this season. And the Rams just, I don't know, man. They need to prove to me that they're actually a good team again before I start taking them to win games like this. I'm going with the Colts. I know it's a weird philosophy as to why I think they're going to win. I just think they're going to win. Buccaneers versus Saints. After the Buccaneers had a very good start through the first 2 weeks of the season, they got humbled last week against the Eagles. And the Saints are another one that's just been up and down. They've kind of been just ugly this year, but I think they're going to take the win against the Bucs here. Forgot to mention it's Alvin Kamara's return game, so it'll be interesting to see how much touches he gets in this game and what he does with them. Commanders versus Eagles. This is another one I really don't have to explain very much. The Eagles have looked a little off through the start of the season. Their defense has been great, but their offense has been kind of wishy-washy. If any game, though, gives them the chance to have an amazing offensive performance like the ones they had last year, it's this game against the Commanders right here. So I'm going with the Eagles in what should not be too hard of a game for them to win. Bengals versus Titans. The Bengals have not looked good throughout the first few weeks of the season, but the Titans have looked far worse. They might have one of the worst offenses in the league. And against a Bengals team that can hopefully start picking things up and having great offensive performances again, you're going to need that offense, and the Titans don't have that. So I'm going with the Bengals to win this game. This is another team that needs a pretty convincing win this week to give them some momentum going forward. Raiders versus Chargers. The Raiders don't even have Jimmy Garoppolo this game. Aiden O'Connell is going to be taking the field for them. Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. They will make it as difficult as possible, though, because they are the Chargers. But they'll end up winning the game down to the wire or something like that. They're the Chargers. Patriots versus Cowboys. Before last week, I wouldn't have hesitated taking the Cowboys in this game, but they lost to the Cardinals. And it wasn't even like a close, miraculous win for the Cardinals. No, they beat them by 12 points. So the Cowboys are on fraud watch, but I think they'll have a bounce back week against the Patriots here. I don't know if their offense is going to be able to do much against the Patriots defense, but I can say that same exact thing for the Patriots offense against the Cowboys defense. It'll be a tough, hard-fought game, but the Cowboys should take the win. It's Zeke's revenge game, by the way. Cardinals versus 49ers. Oh, do I even have to say anything? 49ers by forfeit. Chiefs versus Jets. Before the season started, I was hyped for this game. I was thinking we were going to get Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. But instead, we have been robbed of that. And we are instead getting Patrick Mahomes versus Zach Wilson on prime time. Chiefs by 30. This is going to be bad. And then the Seahawks versus the Giants on Monday Night Football. This is another game I really don't feel like I have to say too much about it. I'm taking the Seahawks. Saquon's most likely not going to play this game, and as long as the Giants don't have Saquon, I see their offense struggling. So I'm taking the Seahawks to win in Monday Night Football, and that is it for my Week 14 predictions. That's all I got to say. Peace.